Hey, I'm reading Why the Church of the Nazarene Should Be Fully LGBTQ plus Affirming. I'm in the Ally section. I'm reading back and forth between the three different sections. And this one is titled Judging the Fruit, Chapter 31, by Buffy Fleece. That looks like how it should be pronounced, but I've butchered names before, so please let me know if it's incorrect. The chapter description says, the Church of the Nazarene's fruit produced by our attitude toward the LGBTQ plus community is rotten. It's time to examine ourselves. So let's take a look. In the mid-90s, there was a popular band named Creed. Scott Stapp, the lead singer, was raised in a Christian home. Creed's lyrics and videos had images that alluded to the Christian faith. I was a student at Mount Vernon Nazarene University at the time, and everyone wanted to know if this was a Christian band. If they were, it would be acceptable to be a fan. I read articles about them. I watched VH1's Behind the Music on Creed. They never gave a clear answer. I sought advice from my brother-in-law, a pastor, and he gave me that sage Christian perspective. Look at the fruit. Judging things, people, music, movies, or events based on their fruit is the most common advice I have received from Christian leaders and mentors. In other words, we are examining what people are producing with their lives, actions, and even music. I imagine that we are looking for the fruit of the Spirit. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. Galatians 5:22 and 23. This seems to be a good measuring tool to decide what is good, and the church is quick to judge others by this standard. However, it is not a standard that we often hold ourselves accountable to. Throughout the 90s, the Church of the Nazarene's manual statement on same-sex relationships was, quote, homosexuality is one means by which human sexuality is perverted. We recognize the depth of the perversion that leads to homosexual acts, but affirm the biblical position that such acts are sinful and subject to the wrath of God, unquote. We justified our actions toward the LGBTQ plus community with that statement. We mocked artists like Elton John. We deemed the AIDS epidemic as God's judgment against gay men. We promoted stereotypes that reflected the worst aspects of the LGBTQ plus community as the norm and not the exception. We coined the phrase gay agenda and gay lifestyle. We promoted toxic gender roles in order to avoid the appearance of evil. We did all of this in the name of God while pretending we were producing good fruit. As a middle school teacher, I helped lead the Signs of Suicide program every year, and without fail, the majority of students that reached out for help are emerging LGBTQ plus students. These children are beginning to understand who they are, and they are afraid. They fear rejection, judgment, bullying, and worse from family, friends, and their faith. Recent studies by the Trevor Project showed us the LGBTQ plus students are twice as likely to have experienced bullying, twice as likely to become addicted to drugs or alcohol, and 3 times more likely to lack a trusted adult. They are at a substantially greater risk of depression and suicide. Yet we sit back in our pews and pretend that our years of hateful rhetoric, disastrous promotion of conversion therapy, and our blatant rejection of our LGBTQ plus children have nothing to do with these numbers. We think we are giving them love and failing to acknowledge our rotten fruit. I have 2 queer children. My youngest has only recently come out. As a pastor myself, my children coming out as queer has been a difficult path to navigate. The church tells me my daughter Annie cannot have a girlfriend and say she loves Jesus. She says she can. She says she loves God, has said the sinner's prayer, has been baptized, and feels a call to preach. So who is right, Annie or the church? Well, let's examine the fruit. Her girlfriend is the kind of person you hope our child hangs out with. She is kind and considerate. She challenges my daughter to be more conscious of other people and their feelings. They build each other up and speak words of hope when the stress of school and being a teenager has them down. When they are together, they share joy and laughter. In the past 8 months they have been dating, my daughter has become more open to discussing the church and God. Her faith has grown deeper. I asked her if she wants to leave the Church of the Nazarene. She gave me a firm no, replying, Mom, other kids like me need a safe place. You can be that. you can love LGBTQ plus people in the church so they know that God loves them too. So, does that fit the criteria of good fruit? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, self-control? It is significantly healthier than many of the heterosexual relationships I've witnessed in church youth groups. My 4 children have grown up in a different world than me. They are sensitive to the unnecessary labels that we have given that cause divisions and xenophobia. More than that, they desire to live without the labels that society uses to make sense of the world. My daughter does not want to be labeled gay, bisexual, or straight. She does not want the box that labels place on her. She just wants to be seen as Annie. She is not my gay child. She is my child. My second oldest is not my non-binary child. They are just my child. There is so much more to them than their sexuality or their gender. They are a smart, kind, funny, and talented human. They love hiking, swimming, softball, and music. They are a whole person. Many of my friends that are gay are in long-term monogamous relationships. Many of them are married with children. They are not the embodiment of the weird gay caricatures that I grew up with in the 90s. They are just normal people with normal jobs and normal families. They are not my gay friends. They are just my friends. They are nurturing parents, excellent teachers, loving partners, and supportive friends. Many times they are the safe place the church has not been, giving me room to process my own hurt without judgments. When these friends come to church with me and enter a loving relationship with the Creator, what will our response be as the church? Will we refuse to recognize them as a family? Will we require that they separate? How will their kids react to that? Will they be open to a religion that is responsible for their family breaking up? The world is changing, and the church cannot ignore the changing dynamics. I do not ask for reflection and change just because it would be convenient for my family. I ask because there is a population of people whose lives literally depend on us getting this right. Our ability to question long-held religious beliefs is part of who we are. It is why I, as a woman, can be a pastor. At some point, men in power judged the fruit of women preaching and decided that they could not deny the good fruit. That led to a reversal in policy held by churches for centuries. As a female pastor, I owe it to my LGBTQ plus friends to use my voice to raise the same concern. There is undeniability good fruit from the ministry of our LGBTQ plus Christian brothers and sisters. It is time to re-examine our long-held beliefs. Buffy Fleece is a bivocational pastor in Columbus, Ohio. During the day, she is a middle school Spanish teacher in Columbus City Schools. She has a BA in Spanish Education from Mount Vernon Nazarene University and a MDiv from Nazarene Theological Seminary. Well, Buffy, well done on your chapter. Thank you so much. I have often heard the phrase, examine the fruit to see who a person is and whether Christ resides in them. And that is definitely one of the reasons why I am for encouraging LGBTQ plus people to be members and leaders and preachers and to be married within our church. Thank you.